Greetings world, it is I, Andrew, the bearded lady from the Hairy Game Lords, and for Zatu Games I'm going to review for you MegaCity Oceania. Ooh. So, before I tell you what I think, let's go over to the table and learn very briefly on how on earth we play this game. Okay, so this is a very basic setup of how we would play MegaCity Oceania. Now, I've done it set up for a two-player game, but obviously this game it goes all the way up to 4. And what takes place is you are building the megacity of Oceania, and you are building it out at sea. And it starts off all around and kind of focuses around Central Park. Central Park is the beginning tile here. Everybody else starts off with their coloured markers that they will place on their buildings, and a park space as well. So, also on the table, you will see here there are victory points. Then there is this thing over here which allows you to... Well, this is kind of like some bonus stuff at the end. So whoever builds the most of a certain contract will get additional points. Also, if you build one of each of the different places, so you will get additional victory points for diversity. And then at the end of the game, if you have the highest tower token, you get another additional 3 points. This is the little token that will go on your tile if you have the highest tile. And this little thing here is to help you to measure said building or construction. These along the back here are sort of like, once all of these contracts are gone, then these back contracts come out, which are worth loads. So these are the different contracts that are here. So on somebody's go, what will happen is they will take 2 standard actions. In a 2-player game, you will take 3 standard actions, or you can do a special delivery action, where you will deliver your building, your construction, into the main area, which is, well, it's pretty fun, that bit on its own. So what happens is the standard actions, either you can take a building contract, so you can take any one of these different coloured building contracts. The blue is industry, the yellow is commercial, the red is residential, and the purple are landmarks. Now, as you can see on these, there is certain criteria that needs to be met. So this has to be more than 35. What is it? More than 35 millimeters high. Is that what it is? Yes. Which is basically like more than 35 stories high. It has to have 5 pieces of building construction, no more, no less. It has to have 5, and within the structure there has to be an archway. However you want to create that. There are different contracts that do different things. This one here has to be 45 stories high or more. You have to use 7 pieces, but this time you can't use any of the see-through pieces, which is symbolic of glass. And then, you know, there are different things like this one here. This one here is you have to have like a little archway in there, like a little doorway. This one here is, you can see, you can get loads here. There's no kind of like building construction thing that needs to be done, but it needs to be relatively high, and you can use 8 or more pieces to do so. Also, remember, you're trying to get the highest building award, so the higher the better. And you are building things out of this. Well, you grab this fantastic sac à magique, and in there are all kinds of construction pieces made out of the 3 different types of materials. So let's just delve into the bag and pull out some, drop some on the floor. So this one would be representing the glass, then the dark is representing steel, and then the grey is concrete. So there are the 3 different types of building materials, and as you can see, they're really thin, and they're probably not that easy to build on. And that is pretty much the consensus. It isn't that easy to build these structures. I would say out of all the dexterity games, these pieces are probably the most tricky that you will have to construct your building with or on. So, let's go back to our goes. On your go, you can either take a building contract as one of your standard actions. Now, you can do multiple of the same action. So you could take 2 contracts if you desired. You can take a platform. So here are the platforms here. Here is a platform that you can see. This is the industry. These 3 things here need to be built upon. So these symbolize your water, your electricity, and your power and your waste. So the building has to cover these 3, but this vent, unless your contract states otherwise, the building cannot cover this vent. If there was an archway and the vent was underneath the archway, that's absolutely fine. And with this vent here, this vent shows you what is on the reverse of this tile, and it is a commercial tile. So you can take a platform, whichever side it is, you can take it as one of your actions. You can rezone or flip that tile as another of your actions. You can take building pieces. So you can take 3 building pieces from the bag at random. So it's a case of reaching in, counting out within your hand and pulling out those 3. So 3 building pieces at random. Alternatively, you may take 1 building piece of the material of your choice. So most people on their first go take 2 of the same action of this and get some building materials. You're not allowed any more than 15 materials in your play area at one time. And in terms of the platforms, you aren't allowed more than 2 platforms in your play area at the same time. You can refresh the platforms, so you can take all 3 and put new 3 out as an action. But a lot of people, what's the point in doing that? You're only helping other people. Or you can reorganize the contracts. So as you can see in these, the way that they're stacked out, you have to take this one before you can take that one. Well, in reorganizing, obviously, you can change that around. But again, you're helping other people as well. So those are the standard actions that you can do on your go. And then when you have built your building correctly, then what you can do is, and you place on it your little marker thing to say, hey, that was my building, good times. What you would do is, on your go, you can deliver the tile. So it's like you sail it in and place it next to a location. So when you're delivering your tile, it has to be no more than 3 tiles away from Central Park. And if you deliver it near other parks, you can get benefits, extra victory points for that at the end of the game. Now, in delivering your tile, your structure to MegaCity Oceania, if, for instance, as you're going in, it wobbles and falls, then you take back all of your tile and pieces, and effectively you have lost that go. Now, this can be quite funny and pretty tense. Whilst everybody's taking their goes, people are currently building, and so there seems to be a limited amount of downtime in this game. But what's funny is that when someone's like, hey, I'm going to deliver this, it seems that everybody stops and watches, hoping. Well, it depends on what kind of group you're playing with, but us hairy game lords were really hoping that as people delivered their buildings into Oceania, it would fall. But there we go. So then basically this city starts to appear. Now, if when you're delivering a building into the city, or if the table is knocked at all after delivery has taken place and buildings are destroyed, although that is gutting and annoying, there is no points lost or anything like that. You don't have your contracts taken off you, which is a good thing. Your marker just remains on the tile for end scoring, but play continues on. That is very quickly how one would play MegaCity Oceania. The artwork and design is nice, it's crisp, there's a real kind of like simplicity to the design of the game, and it works really well. Lots of nice bright colours. The components, wow. Well, the components are really nice. The punch board of the tiles is a good thickness. The contract cards are a nice weight to them, not too flimsy at all. And then you have the punchboard kind of tools, so like the measuring stuff, as well as the scoring victory point things, really nice. Of course, that cloth bag with all of those amazing building pieces in it are, well, they're just brilliant. Some of the pieces on there maybe a little bit wobbly on the edges. But actually, I think this adds to the difficulty of the game and putting together those structures. It's not just a case of you just dump them down and they'll be fine. No, they're very thin and they are hard to stack. It's difficult to build a structure. Plus, they're all crazy different shapes, and shapes that don't actually stack very well. So there's a lot of imagination and design that can be put into your creation. It looks on the table really pleasing to the eye, and as that city starts to build, it really does capture the look of a cityscape with all of the different kind of like the glass in there and the different kind of spires and all the different archways and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. Who is this game for? Well, this is a dexterity game, but it really feels like it's a dexterity game for gamers. Usually, dexterity games, I would say, are a brilliant gateway game. Like Men at Work, fantastic components and a brilliant game as a gateway, but also for younger children. I've played Men at Work with younger kids, even than stated on the box, and everybody has enjoyed it. This game, younger kids would not get on well with it. The trickiness of building that structure is difficult, and I think that children would get fed up with their building falling over, especially then when they come to deliver that building into MegaCity Oceania and it falls over. Often it fell down, and this was frustrating because it felt like you had wasted a whole go. Those goes are precious because you're wanting to get as many contracts built as possible to get as many victory points as possible. Also, this is more than just your bog standard dexterity. There is some strategy involved in what contracts you're going to go for to get the most victory points. you've got those end score victory points that can come in at the end as well. And actually, as part of that, it does very much feel like there is no runaway leader at all. It feels like everybody is in this and everybody has a chance and an opportunity to win this right up until the end, which I really like those games. I don't like it where it feels like there's a clear runaway leader, but actually you're kept guessing and you're kept feeling like you are in this game right up until the final scoring. So if you are a gaming group, then this is a brilliant game for you. If you like dexterity, but as I said, it gives you a little bit more than dexterity. There is some strategy that comes in as well. And of course, there's a lot of fun. The fun is, and that kind of franticness of building your structure and then delivering it into the city and hoping so much that it does not wobble or fall over. Yes, as I kind of alluded to in the how to play section, it is frustrating when maybe somebody else knocks down your building. And as buildings go and as the city kind of comes together, there are more and more opportunities for buildings to fall and knock down other buildings, like a domino effect. And that can be frustrating when you've worked really hard and you have worked really hard at delivering your building to MegaCity and then somebody comes in and just knocks it down. Or if the table is nudged at all and it can just wipe out large areas of the city. That can be frustrating. Also, initially it felt like, hey, there's going to be no downtime in this because whilst other people are taking their goes, everyone's building. But because actually it's quite tricky to build, those building times can go on longer than it takes for everybody else to have a go and for it to come round to you. And so we felt like we had to house rule that if you weren't ready to take your go or deliver the building, then you would miss a go. And that's something that you on your own or in your own games group can look into and work out. Would I recommend this game? Yes, I would. I did enjoy the game. It is tricky and it is sometimes frustrating, but it's a good game. It's a good dexterity game where it is more than just building up a structure and hoping that you don't knock it down. There's a lot more to it than that, and actually that makes for a fuller feel to the game and again, very satisfying when you can deliver that beautiful building to the city safely. And not only that, it looks amazing, it meets all the criteria of your contract, and it's the tallest. Yes, good times. This is obviously on Zatu and it is featured with a brilliant Zatu price. So if you like what you've heard, or if you are into dexterity games, then certainly go and check this out. Good times. Thanks for watching. Laters. Oh, and don't forget, if you like to have a bargain, not only do Zatu do a brilliant price, but also if you type in Hairy Game Lord 5, you get 5% discount as well. Nice.